Hello, and welcome to our webinar brought to you by LogicMonitor. I'm your host, Katie Bavoso from the Channel Company. The last 2 years taught us all how to plan and, more importantly, how to pivot. Digital transformation and the impacts of a global pandemic force businesses to distribute their data across multiple environments, networks, and clouds. As businesses grow, this siloed activity becomes more difficult to monitor, which is helping to drive the SaaS market to grow at an anticipated compound annual growth rate of 27.5% through 2028. With this demand comes opportunity for MSPs to offer SaaS-based monitoring solutions and services. LogicMonitor can help you grow your business with a cloud-based platform that scales to your needs and the needs of your customers. Today, we'll explore why channel providers choose LogicMonitor. And for that, I'm joined by Scott Pelletier, Vice President of Innovation at A&M, a LogicMonitor partner, as well as Michael Tarbett, Vice President and Global Head of MSP at LogicMonitor. Welcome, gentlemen. Let's get started with our very first segment, a partner perspective on LogicMonitor. So this first question is for you, Scott. Please tell me about A&M, first of all. What do you do and what verticals do your customers typically operate in?
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me here today. And A&M, we're focused in the mountain and desert regions of the United States. So Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico, El Paso, and Phoenix area. We have offices in those locations and employees spread across those locations. We are an integrator primarily, so a large reseller and also consultancy and managed service provider in that area.
Very nice. So second question also goes to you. How long have you been partnered with LogicMonitor?
I've been working with LogicMonitor for probably 6 years now. So it's been quite a while, been a very good experience. I've really enjoyed it at a couple different companies, A&M being one, obviously. And when I started our managed service practice at my last company is where I initially found LogicMonitor. And the reason was when I looked at how we were going to serve our clientele and looking at the industry standard tools for what's called RMM or remote monitoring management packages, I couldn't find one that was actually good at both ends. They were either a monitoring sort of solution or they were a management solution, but very rarely can you find one that was really good at both of those at the same time. So we went on a search for a monitoring and event management system, and that's where we found LogicMonitor. It's really been impactful. One, the broad coverage, because a lot of those monitoring packages that are industry standard for most MSPs do not cover the same technology breadth or depth that LogicMonitor can out of the box. And then also the extensibility of LogicMonitor is huge. So, if it isn't there and we want to have some, aspect of monitoring or configuration management or whatever it might be, we can also just write it ourselves and extend the functionality at the same time.
Well, after that, Michael, I'm sure you've got a lot to say. So tell me what kinds of solution providers the LogicMonitor platform is built for.
Thank you, Katie. It's great to be here. And Scott, always great to spend time with you. With a quick introduction, LogicMonitor has been a leader in the performance management and monitoring space for 10 plus years. Today, over 620 service providers globally use LogicMonitor, ranging from small regional providers to very large global organizations. We have the largest and the fastest growing solution for service providers in the market. We find that there are several reasons why service providers choose LogicMonitor. First, many service providers have been using legacy, on-premise, and sometimes archaic monitoring tools for years. In some cases, they have many different tools to monitor the various modalities of devices that need to be monitored. And sometimes they just have various tools to monitor the network, another tool to monitor cloud, another tool to monitor containers, other tools to monitor different instances of on-prem devices, and perhaps yet other tools to give them logs or synthetics insights. In a digital world, what we see is service providers are modernizing at a record pace. They need better insights. They need AIOps to be built into their tooling. They seek capabilities around helping them with rapid deployments. They want SaaS. They need hybrid monitoring visibility and coverage. And they require broad monitoring capabilities of all device types and all technologies. And they also seek rich integrations that facilitate automation across the full spectrum of monitoring. And to bring us further forward still, we're now seeing strong interest in including logs insights and synthetics into the service kits and offerings that our service providers go to market with. with. So on one hand, we see these large service providers who have been on a legacy tooling looking for a new solution that meets these requirements, or we see companies looking to move to a SaaS-based solution. And we also see a large amount of service providers, similar to what Scott described, who are scaling and they're building their growing recurring revenue businesses, who bought a basic monitoring tool, or perhaps they were trying to use an RMM tool at one point, and now they're investing in their capabilities to support their growth. If I had to summarize, in many cases, to borrow a phrase that we hear from customers frequently, especially in this environment, they're trying to become a more mature next gen or next generation MSP.
Very well put, Michael. Scott, we're going to go back to you. I know earlier you answered a similar question about what differences you can see since adopting LogicMonitor, but can you describe any measurable changes to your service delivery since utilizing LogicMonitor?
Sure. Yeah, we were tracking many different KPIs, and one was very interesting. I talked to our service desk director the other day, and I asked them, what's the incident reduction looking like? Because that was one of the things we anticipated would happen with the automatic incident creation from LogicMonitor versus our old tools. And like Michael said, there were several of them that we were consolidating onto the LogicMonitor platform. And he's saying we're tracking, we're still moving some of the clients over, but we're tracking towards a 90% reduction, which that was an overachiever result that I wasn't quite expecting that good. So that was quite impressive. A lot of it is noise, as you might imagine, just noisy incidents and tickets and redundant things coming in that really weren't relevant. If a site goes down, you want prefer to have one incident versus 200. You see 200 devices go down with it, and so seeing some of those sort of improvements have been tremendous. We also have seen a huge uptick in our attachment rate of what we call a CI or configuration item to an actual incident, so which helps the technician much more quickly understand what element or elements are being affected, and quickly pivot to the troubleshooting tools associated with said element, or logging into the element, whatever it might be. All that's got associated in an automated fashion with LogicMonitor and our integration. So those have all been different aspects of improvement.
90%, super impressive and great to hear there, Scott. Let's move on to segment 2 now, a platform for growth. So Michael, you're going to start us off here. Let's take some time to talk about the LogicMonitor platform itself. How do you provide your partners and clients with better visibility and easier to use technology?
Well, our value proposition around better visibility and ease of use, it really just comes down to this. Service providers are looking for a more holistic and automated view of their customers' environments. And we support these by 3 tenets, which all have a direct impact on operations, as Scott just shared. So number 1, we enable them to deploy fast. We use a highly intelligent but small collector that helps put eyes on targets of a customer's infrastructure almost instantly. And it's a huge advantage for our service providers. Number 2, we allow them to monitor more. LogicMonitor has written literally thousands of integrations, what we call logic modules, that allow you to instantly see your Azure environment, your AWS environment, your Cisco, your Dell, your HP, your Palo Alto, or really any technology, all in a single and meaningful view. And third, the focus is on automation. With thousands of these integrations, what happens for our customers is that they begin to take the heavy lifting of alert noise and response management off of your engineers and put it into the hands of the platform, which is where it should be. So think scale, think efficiencies, think better SLAs, all driven by automation of workflows and processes that yield to greater service reliability.
Michael, staying with you for this one, your website says, quote, LogicMonitor MSPs are growing at a 30% compound annual growth rate compared to an industry standard of 11%. That's a pretty impressive difference. What's driving this growth?
Well, thanks for calling it out, because it really is an amazing stat when you think about it. As a business, and on our team, we constantly look at this number of how's the industry growing, and we compare this with how our customer base is growing. And it's always about a 3x ratio for our service providers. And it really comes down to the points I previously shared: deploying faster, monitoring more, and automation. But really, it goes further. It goes beyond the technology, and it goes to the investments that LogicMonitor has been making over the years to ensure our service providers are successful. Our view is simply this. This is about a journey and a partnership, and our investing in service providers to help them be successful. It's not about just signing a contract with us and then transferring you to a 1-800 support team. It's all about aligning on a growth journey and supporting our customers. And frankly, that starts, in our sales motions, but then it is followed up with, after a contract is signed, with our customer success, our professional services, and our education teams to help get our customers up and running quickly. And then it migrates more to our MSP go-to-market teams and our executive alignments that we do, so that we can align with our customers, our partners, on their strategic plans and business goals. And Scott is a good example of this. As you mentioned earlier, he's known us for many, many years. And Scott, I know that you've seen us kind of mature in that motion and how we're trying to partner even tighter with service providers. And I think the next question is going to anyway, Scott.
Very much so. Scott, what growth have you experienced since implementing LogicMonitor?
When we looked at our numbers last quarter, we had an annual growth rate in just the managed services area specifically of 47%.
Wow. So that was just from last year to this year, or since implementing LogicMonitor?
Well, that's the same thing. I've been here a little over a year, and we implemented LogicMonitor when I got here. So those are all aligned, though that is year over year.
That is so impressive. So Scott, what kind of feedback have you heard from customers since partnering with LogicMonitor?
The visibility, if I had to just kind of use one word to summarize it, because there's a lot of things LogicMonitor does for us. It's much more than just a monitoring platform. It's monitoring, it's performance management, it's configuration management, configuration change detection. There's a lot of things that we use it for. We also enhanced a lot of the data we already have inside of LogicMonitor with additional properties. So it's data enrichment. And it's really just added a tremendous amount of visibility, reporting capability, even looking into the future a little bit and trying to see things that are going to happen before they actually do. So that's been great for us, but we also extend this visibility to our clients as well, which they've been very impressed with. It's very rare you'll see an MSP that will extend that same visibility to the end user, customer themselves as well. And we do that. We're pretty much 100% co-managed with our clients. So they all have some semblance of an IT, staff as well. And so making them look better makes us look better. So if we can help them have more visibility to the environment, then they don't even have to, ask us about something. They can go look for themselves sometimes. And of course, we help them interpret the data as well. But it's been great for both sides.
Well, Scott, you've said a lot of wonderful things so far about LogicMonitor, but as we look to the future, how does the LogicMonitor platform allow you to continuously innovate your services and solutions?
Yeah, one of the things, I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, that it's the extensibility of LogicMonitor. So it's really happens to be a software development platform that happens to monitor stuff. So we take advantage of that. So if again, we can take something out of the box, comes with a ton of integrations already built, but we can extend those, we can add to them, so if our customers ask for some piece of functionality that maybe is not in there, or maybe needs to be served by a third party. For example, we're leveraging Cisco APIs, for example. We'll extend the functionality of LogicMonitor by pulling down what's called P-certs, or the common vulnerabilities and exploits that may apply to the particular equipment that we're monitoring. Once we get LogicMonitor's intelligence about the device, we'll actually extend the data and enrich the data with third-party information, like from Cisco in that example, so that now we can see what P-certs are outstanding on those devices. We can see the SmartNet contract information and all these other things that we can extend to the customer to enhance the experience of why they pick A&M.
That brings us into our final segment, LogicMonitor, a channel-first business. So Michael, how do you support your partners to go to market with LogicMonitor and then continue to support them over time?
I'll give you a couple of answers here. We've always had a very customer-centric model here at LogicMonitor, but we had an epiphany and sort of a nice challenge when, frankly, the pandemic began. Just like our business, our customers, our partners, they were dealing with uncertainty as well. We began asking a lot of our partners at the beginning of the pandemic of, what can we do as your partner to try to help you? And it was through some of that feedback that we launched our go-to-market program. And I'll explain what that looks like, and I'll give you a few examples of what we've done. So one of our customers, for instance, here in the US, they monitor roughly 30 end customers using LogicMonitor, but more broadly via professional services, via resale, via tech consulting, and the other offerings that they come to market with. They touch thousands of end customers. Their goal was to reach their own community by increasing the managed services, what they call the take rate, attaching managed services into some of those other business lines and into those other companies that they are engaged with. Why would they do that? Because their annual goal was largely predicated on a significant growth in recurring revenue. So engaging our go-to-market team that I mentioned, we worked with their CMO, their sales leadership, and we developed with them content and digital assets that they could use to target their customers. Our engineers participated as subject matter experts on their calls. Our AEs partnered with their sales teams on key client visits. And this led to many, many new customer acquisitions. And the success rate has really been phenomenal. And a lot of it, Katie, has been predicated on this go-to-market motion and a lot of the assets and things that we started to build on behalf of our service providers. Another story is what I like to call multiple routes to revenue for our partners. A service provider will always have a managed services arm, but what if we expand that relationship and now consider LogicMonitor as a platform that they can resell? Or perhaps it's a platform that they can do referrals for. All have very good margins associated with it. Or perhaps even a provider wants to participate in professional services delivery to other customers. When we think of our partners, we're trying to think through with them, and we're encouraging them to think through it as well about how can we expand opportunities for them to make revenue with LogicMonitor. So I think it's the collaboration of all those types of efforts that has led us to have a really strong partnering motion with the customers that we serve.
Scott, based on everything that Michael just said, can you give me a use case of this support that you've experienced?
Yeah, sure. We meet with our client success team on a very regular basis, and it's they help us with all kinds of different things. How might we satisfy this need that a customer's asking about? Has anyone ever solved that problem before? And can you give us some pointers on maybe how we might do that? Or we participate in a lot of the beta programs with LogicMonitor as well, as where we get to actually test out some new feature that they're trying to figure out, so we can give a direct feedback, which is awesome for us because at the end of the day we end up getting more what we want right out of the solution, and also get to engage directly with product management, which is really nice.
Michael, back over to you. I really want to make sure that I highlight something. You've recently been named to the 2022 CRN Channel Chiefs list. Congratulations. This is the third year in a row that you've been recognized. Huge, really exciting for you. Congratulations again. But what does this say about LogicMonitor's commitments to its partners and the channel?
Well, thank you very, very much. I must say, when that was announced, I was honored, and I truly do appreciate the recognition from CRN. LogicMonitor is a channel-first company. If you visit with me or our other executives, you'll hear the same theme. The numbers back it up as well. Over 60% of our global revenue comes through partners. To give you a scope and a perspective, we have over 2,000 direct customers, but we have well more than 8,000 plus in customers that we reach via our partners. So we will continue to invest in this motion because our partner success has really been our success as a company. So the recognition and the award isn't really so much a reflection on me, but rather on our customer success and the partnerships that we continue to build with them. But again, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Congratulations. And Scott, you've got the last word today. How would you describe your experience as a LogicMonitor partner to those who are considering becoming one?
It's been just a very positive experience. It's one thing to get the technology right; it's another thing to get the support right. But rarely you get them both right. So it's really been worked out really well for us, that we feel like we're supported. I can call Michael if I needed to, or call someone on my client success team. Just feel like a true partnership is really there, that we really are looking out for the best interest of each other and our customers. So it's been a great experience.
I love to hear it. Thank you so much, Scott. And thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate your time today. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you both. And thank you at home for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about LogicMonitor, you can simply visit the web address on your screen. Once again, I'm Katie Bavoso. Thanks for watching.